Hello, I am Eagle. Eagle Gardens. Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram. This is fucking talking shit with Eagle. This is episode number 16. I will be joined soon by my guest, LostLeaf. You all know him from around the community for his LED tech and his recreational 500. He's been spreading his knowledge around the community now for a long time, and looking forward to chatting with him. Hope everybody is ready to go ahead and burn one with me, just as the tune says. I'm rolling up just a kind of a cocktail mix myself. Boom! What's up, brother? Thank you and welcome. Hi, Tara Wilson. Thank you for joining. Aldridge, nice to see you. Nutrient Shootouts, what's up? How you guys doing tonight? Uh, just checking out my guests there real quick, make sure. The Urge, how you doing tonight? Nice to see you. Just rolling up a little bit of Insane and little Pine Valleys. I'm going to throw in a little bit of hash on this. Hello, Jennifer Steele. Nice of you to join us. Oh, hi, Pudge One. It's nice to meet you. Thank you for joining. Rolling it up, waiting for the guest. He had to do a little bit of foliage or spraying in the garden. Maybe he'll give us a little bit of information on that tech. And it is hot as shit in here in the garden tonight. Things are starting to warm up a little bit here in northern Michigan, and I haven't swapped over my systems yet. So kind of get toughening it out a little bit until things level out. And I'll do the appropriate measures for my summertime environment. CJ, what's up, brother? Nice of you to join. Like I think you'd miss out. Native, Michigan native. How you doing? Cheers. How you doing? Glad you could make it. Just getting my stuff all rolled up and ready. Waiting for Mr. Lost Leaf, who's going to come dropping in some knowledge. Jimmy Crack Seeds, hello, how you doing? Hoss Farms, thank you for joining me. Love all you guys tuning in, smoking down with me while we talk a little bit of shit, drop some knowledge, but in a fun, laid-back sense, which allows us to get to know the grower a little bit. Who else we got here? Chris Martinez. I hope I said that right. How you doing? Welcome. Squirrel Face. How you doing? Go feel free to talk amongst yourselves. I just want to go ahead and point out that this is kind of a three-way show. If you see any, if you have any questions at any time for the guests, feel free to post them up in the chat. I am always trying my best to watch the chat as I go along. I try to address everybody as much as I can. Amadeus, how you doing? Cheers. But in the same aspect, I want to make this as interesting for you as possible. So if you have any questions, like I said, during the show at any point, go ahead and throw those down in the chat and I'll propose those up for myself or the guests, whoever they may be geared for. What are you guys smoking on tonight? What are you burning on? Burn one, burn one. That's right. Night, Nikki Wade, nut for life. I am, and I know there is many. It looks like my guest is waiting for me to let him in. Turn this music off and let this fucking awesome man in. Mr. Lostleaf, are you there? There he is. How you doing, sir? Thank you so much for joining us. I've already kind of introduced you and let everybody know that you were coming, but go ahead and introduce yourself and let everybody know where they can find you.
What's up, everybody? My name's Matt. I partial owner over here at LostLeaf. We are a 500 plant medical licensed grow facility in Michigan. You can find us at Instagram at LostLeaf MI. I got a YouTube channel as well, LostLeaf, and those are the only two places that I really pump out content. But yeah, man, what's up?
Not much, man. I blew up your YouTube today, man. I think I watched all your videos up to current, just because I didn't know it was out there, man. You know, you've been dropping knowledge lately on, you know, a lot of shows, Grandmaster level. Of course, you've been on the Michigan Bros Grow Show, and I've seen you all kinds of places, and it's been impressive, you know, the knowledge you've just dropping down in them few areas. But I for some reason, I thought maybe I was subscribed. I don't know how I was in the loop. Let's put it that way. But I went back and I started in from first video, and when you just were starting in the DWC in the littlest pots, and you had the little Mars lights and shit in there, and I watched all the way up to the new build and everything, and awesome shit. I'm so glad to have you on here, because I have much respect for you and the knowledge you've been dropping down. I mean, you've come a super long way, in my opinion, and since it was, what, 3 years ago since you started those videos. I mean, from that to what you're into now, brother, that shit's huge. And my admiration doesn't stop there. For Fergoli's in the chat tonight. What's up, Fergoli? Thank you for popping in. My admiration for you don't stop there, brother, because you're leading an industry. You help lead an industry in Michigan as far as recreational grows go, and it's an open door. You know, not only are you're innovating the grows with your LEDs and your rack system that I'm really admiring, but it's an open door. You know what I mean? And that's pretty ballsy for a competitive market. You know what I mean? To kind of let everybody in on, you know, what you're doing and shit. And
For sure, man. For
you
sure.
would rather see the information get out there than you know, hoard it. So much respect
Yeah,
for that, and welcome to the show.
absolutely, man. It's you got to give it back, because I mean, I've learned like literally almost everything that I know from this community. You know, a strong mixture of going out and doing my own research. Obviously, we all have these fucking handy dandy little devices that allow us to access infinite knowledge, pretty much anything that's out there that's been published. But that's where we seem to have a bit of a problem with our industry. Obviously, there's not white papers on everything. You know, there's not that information kind of slows when it comes to real done by scientific method research. You know, and so I think that it's important for us as growers to, I mean, kind of come together and work together and figure out what's really working for us, and that way we can all kind of grow as a community, because I don't see it as competition right now, man. I don't see it anybody that I'm fucking with online, that I don't see anybody as competition, because I mean, especially here in Michigan, maybe it's different, you know, out in Cali or whatever, but like, I've never been in that market, man, and it's just different over here. Like, there's so much for everybody. Like, the market is so wide for everybody out here that I mean, I just don't see how I could be in competition even with somebody that's right next door, because you got secure transporters. We're supposed to have like I'm talking in the license market now. We're supposed to have secure transporters bring our stuff anywhere. So I mean, like, I could pay an extra, you know, $150 and have my shit shipped up to the tip of, you know, Copper Harbor in the UP, or way down and by Detroit. You know, it doesn't really matter if like proximity isn't really a thing. So I think that it's always served me well to like give stuff away to people, give information away to people, because it kind of always comes back to me, and in a sense where like I learn a lot of stuff from trials and tribulations, and I also learn a lot of stuff from talking to people, literally just from even diagnosing people's problems, man. Like people come to me with problems and issues all day about their plants every single day. And it's never really like been to the point. There have been a few, you know, there's those few people who will just goddamn poke and prod you all day long about the stupidest shit. I'm talking the stupidest shit, but somehow, somewhere along that line, there always ends up being something that you learn from. So I always try to take my time to answer everybody. And I've recently tried to kind of get to the point where I can put this information, all of this stuff that I learn and all this stuff that I've come to know, like my findings really, and relate them to where I found real world evidence, where I found evidence from growers, where I found evidence from the scientific world, and kind of put that into a series of documents that I've got. And I've got those for people now who come to me, you know, because I mean, time right now is running so short. I've built this whole damn thing pretty much with just me and my partner, and like, I don't got time now. Like this shit is getting crazy now. I got a kid on the
I
way.
know, I know I appreciate your time, that's for sure. And I've tried your product. I mean, I met you firsthand and you were gracious enough to pass me some samples, and it was all fire. It was all fire.
And that
So
was a minute
let's get
ago.
to know Lost Leaf. Yeah, that let's get to know Lost Leaf. Let's rewind. So at least 3 years ago to the DWC tiny little alien rift plants that I saw, or
Oh yeah.
even further back, if you would, you know, when you started maybe using, and maybe take that into, if you ever, when you found like a medical, you know, when you found it to be a medical benefit, and
Yeah,
you know how you
yeah. I mean,
found it. And take me right into that first YouTube grow, could you?
for sure, man. I've been in the industry for a long ass time. I mean, like ever since, you know, honestly, I wasn't really big into it during like high school, but as soon as I got into college, it really became a big part of my life. Um, I personally had really bad irritable bowel syndrome for a long ass time. Cannabis was the only thing that would help me with it. So naturally, I was after I tried it and it did help me. I sought it out and made it more of a part of my life. Um, and then all of a sudden, I got to a point where I was like, man, I was always constantly like wanting the best weed. I was constantly seeking out the best that I could find, and it was never like consistent. You know, it's always kind of like you know falls off here and there. So I started doing some research on growing, and I was like, and this was about, I think I've been growing for about 8 years now, and I jumped straight into hydroponics because of the fact that I knew that I could do it, and I knew that I could build it, and it was all DIY shit all back in the day. I started off with a 10 site, like a 60-gallon, fully recirculating deep water culture setup. It was like my first thing that I ever grew in, all built with buckets, all tied together. Had that all in it was like a 10 by 12 room, um, and that was the first room that we like blew out, and that was with all Mars hydros back in the day when they first came out. Mars 800s. Whoa, camera went wonky. Hold up. Sorry, I'm on
That's all
camera.
right. No worries.
What the fuck? Anyways, All right, I'm just gonna hold my phone. Fuck it. All right. So, yeah, I was growing in that 10 by 12 room with a deep water culture, all Mars 800s. Started off with LEDs like literally probably 7 years ago, man. It's been a long road with LEDs. They've come so fucking far, man. It's awesome to see. Back in the day, you know, when I first started growing with LEDs, maximum I could hit, I swear, was with those fucking Mars hydros was like 0.75, maybe would barely skin 1 gram per watt, you know. And then so I mean that was a long time. That was for quite a while. I was growing with a partner that I had. The partnership ended up not working out. I mean, partnerships in this industry that are good are really hard to come by. You know, with people have conflicting ways that they want to grow, conflicting ways that they want to do things, and that usually ends up screwing people over, partnerships wise. So that kind of fizzled out. I went to just being my own solo caregiver kind of deal, and did that for a long time, and that led right up to what you're talking about 3 years ago. Just single deep water culture buckets, just 5-gallon buckets, running shit like in little tent cities. I had a couple houses that I moved into and was basically just had a whole room designated, and then I got to a basement, had the whole damn basement designated. Got out of that house and bought this property, and somehow was able to clean all that shit up, have it all done and cleaned up, and then got my security deposit back. Had some old ass landlords, had no idea what was going on. It was hilarious to me. I was like, there is no way I'm getting my security deposit back in this bitch, but I did. And so we found this property, and this has been at least 3 years in the making now, man. This whole building, this whole idea of this business, all this shit. When the hint for the dispensaries first came out, when it was like super fresh, I mean, like I think it was before it was even actually real that it was passed yet, we were looking at this property. I started coming out here, and I had to like sit down on meetings with township meetings with like all the people in this township. I'm in the middle of goddamn nowhere, dude. I'm in northern Michigan, and I'm literally in the middle of nowhere, right? And so the people on this township panel, board panel or whatever, they're all, you know, 65 plus. So I'm like going into this, sitting there, got the whole fire department in the building and like 5 or 6 other people in there. Small ass township, right? And I had to basically stand up there and ask these old ass people if I could grow some weed. And it was the fucking hardest thing I've ever done. I was like shaking in my boots, man, just like so nervous, right? And there was a couple people that were against us. We had 2 on the board that were against us, and I had 1 guy that was just mad opposed to this whole idea. Just totally fucking hated it. Hated everything that we were doing. He literally got us put on a referendum, held us off for an entire year, spent a bunch of his own money to get us put on a referendum, went down to the bingo hall to get signatures from the old people, from the old ladies playing bingo, telling them that we were, you know, like worshiping Satan and shit here, right? And he made a case that he thought that the smell of the marijuana was going to give him allergic reactions and give him headaches. So that's why he didn't want it around. right? This is crazy fucking propaganda bullshit. Held us off for
VOC issue is a fucking real thing in California. I'm glad it isn't here yet, but it is definitely a real bitch. But
yeah.
anyways, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
I
you're
just
good,
meant to
man.
say
You're good.
it's a fucking
We,
legit bitch.
I mean, it's not real, you know. Like you're not gonna get an allergic reaction from. I'm not growing pollen in here, man. You know, I'm not fucking breeding in here. I got lady plants. They don't produce pollen. I'm not pumping that shit out my front door. Like this stupid shit. But
I agree.
We got past that, and we've had the zoning officer has been on board with us since day one, dude. He's an old hippie. He's one of my fucking favorite people ever, dude. He's so cool. Just been with us from the start. Been totally all about it from the get go. Has helped us through this whole process. The township has helped us through this whole process, and now they're fully on board. I've brought. I originally, when I first started growing in here, I posted some pictures of it the other day. I had like a 10 by 20 tent in here, and like a 5 by 10 tent for veg. Just kind of doing some trials in here, seeing how everything worked with working with dispensaries. We worked with lit provisioning centers out of Everett. Did a trial run. Everything went really well, so we decided to go for it, like fully go for it. And it was cool because I got to bring some of these people in here that weren't that were opposed to this whole thing, and was thought that, you know, they had this picture in their head of what this place was, and to them I think it was like just some drug house where, you know, I got guns laying everywhere and all this stupid shit. Just you know the old person mentality. The I'm talking like Reagan era shit. You know, where like they just think that we're the worst fucking thing ever. And so I brought this one lady in, and she was the clerk, and she came in and was just like, wow, this is really clean and everything's all organized, and this is a shock to me, and we actually got to the point where I got confident with it, and I was just kind of like, you know, if you guys don't want this here, I mean, to be honest, I'm still just gonna do it. You know, I mean, I'm still gonna be a caregiver. I'm allowed to do it right now. The big part was that I don't think that they understood that. They didn't think that I was even allowed to do that for some reason. And they thought that they had to give me approval, which I was like, I mean, I have, you know, 5 patients. I'm up allowed 72 plants, right? And so I basically just told them, oh, well, if you don't want to get paid for it, then I'll just keep doing it as a caregiver. And so you can either collect tax money from it, or I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing. Everything kind of just went our way after that, and it's been hard. It's definitely been hard, but we've gotten lucky at so many turns. With our investor and everything that's happened, with him, just being able to still maintain. I still maintain 51% ownership of the company, so I still have the say on everything in the end. So I think that's a huge thing when it comes to owning a business, a cannabis business specifically. Is being able to make those calls when it comes to not cutting corners and shit like that, because you got so many big boys in the market right now that they just throw money into it and they don't realize how much money it's going to cost, and then all of a sudden they get more and more and more straps, and they're not ready to fucking, you know, do what it takes to get to the product where it needs to be, get the facility where it needs to be, so that the product can be fucking good. And a lot of the times too, they hire these people, these kids, like these botany kids, these Fort majors and stuff. And sorry, but just because you got a degree doesn't mean that you know how to run a fucking 5, 10, 50,000 square foot facility. I mean, just because you know the processes of the plant doesn't mean that you know everything about all the ins and outs of how all the rooms need to work and all the dynamics in the rooms and how they expand when you get into a bigger space. That was one of my biggest things, was I didn't want to really jump into a giant space. I wanted to be able to have as much control as I could, because I didn't want to jump from, a 10 by 20 tent to a fucking 5,000 square foot facility. So that's how we kind of, the idea for this thing kind of came out. We're like, all right, we're just going to pretty much jam pack this thing. The whole vertical stacking row thing kind of
Hold
just
on,
fell.
Lost. Before we get into that, I just want to ask, can you give myself and everybody that's watching in chat some advice on what you've done so far? You know what I mean? What you've obviously learned a lot in this process, and you share a lot of your knowledge anyway. I don't want to ask too much of it, but can you throw out some tips for somebody that may be wanting to shadow you in this process a little bit?
For sure, man. I think that one of the biggest things is that you just need to be able to take risks, man. You need to jump for it and go for it. It's literally, it was so fucking dark at the beginning, man. Like, so just like, you're going to have so many people telling you that what you're doing is crazy, that you probably aren't going to make it, just discouraging things, man. You're going to hear it from a lot of people, and you just need to fucking keep pushing. That's literally like, if stuff is falling in line for you, follow that line. Like, if stuff is like happening and lucky shit just keeps happening, I don't care about, like, I'm not talking about like outweighing the lucky stuff with the bad stuff. I'm talking like, yeah, you're gonna have some shitty days. I've had shitty days here. I mean, I've fucked up my clones. Like, I've already fucked up here, but it's not been like giant, terribly unlucky things. The things that have pointed me in the direction of this is gonna work, I just followed it. And like, I didn't know that this whole thing was gonna work. I had no idea. I just kind of went for it. And I think that that's one of the biggest things is getting through that fear response that, we all are kind of programmed to not want change and stuff like that. But I mean, if you guys don't change and you guys don't like try to push for more and better, you're never gonna get to that next level. And who knows what's gonna come with all this shit. I mean, once it gets federally legalized and all that stuff, I think that's a big thing to consider. Is like, if you really want to get into this industry, you got time. Right now is the time. Like fucking make a risk, jump for it. And don't think that just because you don't have money, don't think that you can't do it. You need to apply yourself with knowledge, figure it out, man. I mean, like I said, we got this thing that I'm holding on to right now, is an infinite source of knowledge. Just fucking go on and figure out everything that you can figure out, and then sell yourself. If you need to get an investor or something like that to get this whole thing going, sell yourself. Sell the fact that that you're going to be able to make this work. I think that when it comes to investors, my personal advice is that investors are concerned in the end with money. They're and at the end of the day, that's what they care about. They care about when the money's coming back, how you're going to make it. They don't care about the quality steps that you're going to take. Yeah, you can kind of pitch that to them a little bit, but don't go into an investor meeting and focus on being like, well, we're going to do this to be the best and that to be the best. You need to sell the idea more, and more so the idea of the money to them. It's kind of a where we sold our investor was when I finally kind of stepped away from going off on tangents about the things that I talk to you guys about on a daily basis. My fucking investor doesn't care that I use 730 nanometer far reds to put my plants to sleep and harvest 3 days sooner. He doesn't give a shit about that, right? He cares about the fact that he's going to get his money back at the end of the day. So I think that's a big thing to take into account with investors. And I think that a lot of people don't realize that the information that you need to get this done, to go try to start a license and all that stuff, it's all available, man. Like it's online. You can go look it up. You can see the rules. You can see how the whole process works, man. And I mean, you just got to go for it. You know, you can figure it out. Don't just sell yourself for oh, there's no way I'm going to be able to get that done. Just you need to go for it. You know?
Give us another little pinch of advice here as well. And I heard you mention this in one of those videos like 3 years ago, and I'm sure things may have changed since then. And I've had, unfortunately, bad experience with partners as well. So when you're looking for an investor, let's look on that end, because it's not all about them. It's you have to sell yourself and give them great ideas, but then again, you kind of need to protect yourself. So in your journey so far, what have you learned that you can do to kind of screen yourself against, let's say, a nasty investor?
Nasty investor. Well, we haven't had to. I mean, I guess there was one kind of thing, but you know, it's hard because the other opportunity that we had with an investor was family. So that's hard, man. I mean, you know, when you start to think about family, you know, if you're gonna get into business with your family, it needs to be like a. It's so hard, man. They need to not just, you know, be kind of cheap with it. I don't know if I want to say that, kind of like, you know, you give them, you know, the family discount, or, you know, give you, you know, ask for ridiculous amounts of your business for pennies, you know. I mean,
Shredder here puts out a good idea here. Shredder 911 in chat. He says create an LLC and get an attorney. That sounds like
hell
a
yeah,
good
for
way.
sure,
Then
for
you
sure.
can protect
LLC is the
yourself.
way to go. LLC is definitely the way to go. Get a lawyer, definitely.
Because then they could only take the company, right?
Yeah, for sure. They can't pursue you any further than that. You're not liable. So that's what a limited liability company is best for.
I'd be afraid of just teaching an investor like my process and just, you know, everything, and then have him either try to take me over or step out and do the same.
For sure. If you know, like I said, if you can try to maintain ownership of the business, that's the best way to go, obviously. But if you are not going to be able to do that, if you don't have anything to put into it, like we had this whole property, you know, all the knowledge to do everything. I mean, it was we were kind of right place, right time. But if you don't have the assets and everything to be able to get to that point, then yeah, you need to buy. Damn sure, make sure that you're protecting yourself with forget what it's called. I'm fucking stoned. Protection of intellectual rights, I believe it is. Yeah, protection of intellectual rights. You need to make sure that you have protections for your standard operating procedures that you're creating. You know, because in essence, even if that's not what you think they are, your method for things are your standard operating procedures. So those things are literally worth everything to the company. And what a lot of people are doing, what a lot of shady people are doing, and I hear about this a lot more out west. I've heard it start to migrate over towards this side of the country now. Is that people are hiring these growers in, giving them, flashing a $300,000+ salary in front of them, and they skate by with it, without the grower really signing on to any sort of agreement or anything like this, just because they're so awestruck. Oh my God, that's so much money, and then all of a sudden the grower sets everything up and they kick them out and hire somebody for cheaper. That's the reality of this whole thing. So you definitely need to hire an attorney and make sure that you are protecting yourself by means of contracts, getting it in writing. That's absolutely of utmost importance. I honestly didn't have to use. We used our lawyer for our own business personal agreements, and I did everything else myself pretty much. So everything by means of the application and all that stuff, it was all just me. But yeah,
That's fucking kick ass, because I have much admiration for that, because you're in control of quality, all the way through. As you talk to me right now, you can see you're obviously on break from living your dream. And with that, yeah, I guess that's a good segment. Money's a necessary evil of this whole thing. So let's get off that role of it, and let's talk about something more fun, more aspect that we both love here, and which is the growing side. The money side's always the drag of it all. You know what I mean?
for sure.
So let's get back into the fun. I'll stuff into. Do you want to pick up at the YouTube videos and walk us through how you came through that series up into the rack system that you're running now? Do a little trial and error and all that good shit. Did you already cover a little bit of that? I think we may have, but let's hear it.
Yeah.
Because I know once you get into the rack system, I got questions. Brother. I'm hoping you'll only dump some knowledge on me tonight, but I'm not getting too far ahead of myself. So let's kind of lead up to the racks. Will you take me up to?
All right. So, at first, it's so crazy how everything kind of evolved to get to this point where we're like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a vertical system. Everything kind of evolved with the lights. Fluence came out with their Spider X, and everybody kind of followed suit. We saw Fireweed Factory, I believe it is, out of Alaska, was a huge inspiration for this place. If you guys haven't ever seen them, it's an amazing grow. Go check it out. But they were a big influence for this, and just realizing, okay, we've got X amount of money and we've got this much space in the building, and building onto that building would eat up so much of the budget. It's like, why not just try to maximize the space that we have as much as possible? And the only way to really do that is with vertical stacking. And so I went through trials, in my own personal garden with, I've grown with a lot of different LEDs now, but we were honestly going to go with Green Jeans photo booth strips to begin with. I was on a DIY LED kick for a long time. I built Photon, Phantom boards, HLG boards, and the photo.
That thing was pretty cool. That thing was pretty cool, the one you built in that video. What was the footprint on that? It had to have been at least a 5x5. That was a nice unit you built
The
in the
photo
video.
boost, yeah. No, I mean, I with a linear build, I like to, with LEDs really in general, I don't really like to go out of the realm of just the actual footprint of the light itself, um, unless you're using something like a Dragon, like the new Dragon Alpha or the Dragon SLs from Science, hanging them higher up and having the optics kind of do some work where you can get out of that realm of that exact footprint. Um, but I think that anything that you're using with close proximity, I think that that needs to be maintained as just that area right there. That photo boost blew up that 4x4 like crazy, man. And I had some additional far reds that I added to it as well, and that thing just killed, man. It was awesome. That was one of my favorite builds, and I was excited to use that for the entire facility. But then we figured out that because of insurance purposes, all of our fixtures have to be UL listed, and can't have a UL listed fixture that's you built yourself. So that kind of
That's a bummer.
yeah, pointed us in a different direction. And then just through doing a lot more research, man, it was a lot of research until I got to the point where I was like, all right, we're going with these science lights, because it's a huge investment. I mean, it's a giant investment, and I think that it's by far the best option that I could have gone with. I think that I have a really cool, just a different setup. I feel like a lot of people, a lot of commercial growers don't really have like the targeted processes that I'm aiming at, and I think it's cool to be able to get into that and show you guys that stuff. So you got some questions about the rack system though?
Oh, fuck yeah, brother. Yes, I do. I like the whole idea about it. But the one thing I know you can help me with, and I know it will interest a lot of other people. I'm running LEDs as well, and I've always kind of preached a little bit. It's a learning curve with every light. For one, you should always use your fucking infrared gun to check your leaf temperature and adjust your light down to the appropriate temperature. And then that maybe even at that take a run or two to like dial it in a little bit further. um but what I like about the way you run is using the daily light integral system. And if I could master my LEDs and save a little bit more, actually you should be, from what I've learned today. And I'm not trying to. I dove into the subject today, trying to prepare for this a little bit, and not look silly. But I'm hoping again you'll teach me a whole bunch of shit here, because I left it kind of open on. I just took on a bit to learn here. But I like you could also utilize the same system with the HPS, because they have a number too, right? You can figure that out as well. But first of all, my first question for you, obviously, what is daily light integral? If you could break that down for people that are
For sure, for sure. So it's
watching,
basically just
myself.
the amount of say par or whatever light measurement you want to say that falls onto the canopy over the course of a day. It's just kind of a different measurement for the amount of light that the plants are getting. So DLI can be used to kind of figure out, where that point of light saturation is coming in, and that is really dependent upon, from what I've found, spectrum and the source of the light and the quality of the light. So with LEDs, it's much different, and I've gone back and forth In veg, I run a low DLI. I mean, like I literally run my lights at 25% power. I got 2 raging kales over a 4x4, and I run those lights for 15 hours on and 9 hours off. I mean, that's crazy.
That's your veg period. Obviously,
Yep.
that's your veg period.
Mm-hmm.
So you've
And
shaved a few good hours off there.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
and I've not only
costs.
shaved off a few good hours, but I've also shaved off, I mean, 85% of the power of the light. That's crazy. To be able to run that entire, we've got 200 square feet of canopy in the veg room, and I believe that we can run that entire space with 1200 watts, only running for 15 hours on, 9 hours off. So, and another cool stat of the veg room is the veg room is 200 square feet of canopy in a 175 square foot room with egress and storage space and 3 cloners. It's fucking crazy.
I'm gonna ask you a quick question here, because Chad, this isn't just about me; it's helped teach them as well, and that's why you do what you
For
do.
sure, for sure.
John Ramsberg wants to know, what is heat temperature on the leaf? What is your optimum heat temperature? Your optimum temperature for leaf surface?
Personally, the optimum leaf surface temperature for peak photosynthesis rates is going to be 82. For LEDs, anywhere from 80 to 82 will do, but 82 if you're trying to push your plant to the absolute max. You get up into the 84 range, and that's too high. I like to say, 82, cut it off there, and just ride that as much as you can. The best way to maintain your leaf surface temperature consistently is with a lot of really nice, even, steady airflow. And the airflow is super key. And I think that a lot of people get it wrong. I like to talk about this a lot, where a racetrack airflow pattern is by far the best means of circulating your air throughout the room. So what I like to do is, I have my Schaefer fans. If you don't have a room that's as big, you can use this with oscillating fans if you need to, or wall hangers. They don't necessarily need to be oscillating. That's not really the point of the whole thing, but it's basically putting one fan up in like the bottom right hand corner of a room, and one fan pointing the opposite way in the top left hand corner of the room. So this forces the air to go around the room in just a racetrack pattern, right? This carries all of your dehues, your humidifiers, your ACs constantly around in a circle, and makes the best use out of them, and disperses everything through the room evenly as possible. When you're taking all of your air and pushing it into the middle of your room, like a lot of people do with their oscillating fans on the walls hanging around the outside edge of the canopy, it just kind of pushes the air to the middle of the room, and it creates microclimates along the outside edge, because that airflow won't always be hitting all those outside corners. And those microclimates are where you're going to have issues. They're where you're going to have not as much airflow, higher leaf surface temperatures, or lower leaf surface temperatures, pockets of air that are not moving, that are stagnant, which are potential harbors for things like powdery mildew, all sorts of bad issues. So airflow is really, really important.
I've also seen you speak to the fact, and I agree, that not having those leaves shake can cause deficiency in your plant, mainly calcium deficiency. So, it's just another thing I've watched say and picked up from you in the past. But back to the DLI. So what is cannabis's DLI? That's what I'm curious on. Is what is that magic
That is
number
a
on
strongly
yes.
debated topic. Strongly debated. Um, you know, it ranges. You know, from people's opinions range all the way from 30 to 60. Um, Me personally, I like to float on the very low end side of that. I personally run 32 to 35 DLI. Um, the new Bruce Bugby videos that have come out lately have him talking about reaching a DLI range of upwards of 60, which is to me insane. Um, Blasting a canopy with 1,500 to 2,000 micromoles is, I think it's just going to, it will result in a better yield. Cannabis can grow in those conditions. But in my opinion, the quality of the end product is not going to be the same. The structure that we want is not going to be the same. You're going to get more foxtailing. I've seen lower test results in my own flower from running higher micromoles for a longer period of the day. Um, the reason that I lean towards a low end of the DLI spectrum is because I had one crop where I accidentally ran a low DLI for the last 2 weeks. And in a strain where I've been harvesting our Death Bear OG for 3.5 years now. And I had the best test
Beautiful.
results
I've seen it.
that I've ever had, dude. Like, ever. I'm talking like the terpenes were like a full percent higher. Our THC content was a full like 2% higher than it had ever been before. And I had some damn near perfect runs with that shit. So it's funny too because I was trying to run a different experiment. I wasn't even trying to accomplish anything with DLI. This was before I even knew anything about DLI. I was trying to dial the reds back for the last 2 weeks because I saw a study that came out from Lumagrow that showed that red exposure, like 660 nanometer deep red exposure for the last 72 hours, directly related to terpene loss. So I was just kind of trying to boost the terpene levels.
Really?
Yeah. So it wasn't even about DLI. And it's funny because the next crop, I tried to push that theory even further. And I ran my Raging Kush. I got the Raging Kush in mid-flower. I actually swapped the light mid-flower with the photo booth strips because the Raging Kush, the new lights that I have total spectrum control. So my plan was to, what I did was for the last, like, I think it was like 10, 12 days, I totally dialed back the reds, took the reds completely off, and I actually boosted the intensity of the light to compensate for that loss in reds so I could really determine that variable, because that was the big variable was, okay, is it intensity or is it because of those reds? And so I brought that intensity back up, ran it all the way through, and on the same strains, my terpenes were shit. I'm talking they were lower than they had been before that even. And my THC was back to, kind of a little bit lower numbers too than I was used to even seeing. And I was blown away, dude. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? This is like a complete opposite of what I'm trying to do here. And then all of a sudden that Science came out with their DLI calculator, and that was the first time that I had ever really heard of DLI. And I took that and I instantly was like, holy shit, that's what it was. It was the intensity was too strong, on this run and on the last run, that was the only difference, was the intensity. So it matches up to a lower DLI number. So I run I run a lower DLI
So
number.
the farther the red, the worse the case. I'm taking, that's what I'm gathering here. So I've had a few LED companies reach out to me and want me to add far red in my garden. I think it was like
No, far red's
right
great.
around 8. No, his purpose, it was far red. I want to say it was right around the 800 mark,
Oh,
but I could be
infrared?
wrong on that. No, it was far out there. What he was trying to say was adding it for PM. It was a PM company saying that if you added this far red to your garden, that it would help you fight PM. And I do run a little bit of red, but not far red.
No,
And I
I've never
found
heard of that before.
that far red.
That sounds like
Red.
that sounds like bullshit to me. Either it's
I'll give you.
UV.
I'll shoot you a
UV.
link to their page so you can help me better understand. And you know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
for sure.
Because they were like, yeah. Try these out. And I'm like, I don't. Yeah, no, I'm not ready to jump in.
No, man, there's so many different fucking ass companies out there now that got an endless list of bullshit that they're trying to sell to people. LED companies nowadays it's terrible.
I'm getting a little ahead of myself here because I wanted to talk about the red a little bit later. That was like my next question. I had one in between, but since we're talking about the red anyway, you've already brought it up, and you obviously use it because that's what I was going to ask. I do mix it. I'm running some T5 LEDs right now, and they're doing pretty good. There's a red mixture in there, and I found that the red has actually helped with stem strength. It has actually made the plants that I've run before a little bit stronger and less. I have to support it less. So now, with that being said, is there a time that I should be cutting that far red off or that red off and stop ruining my terpenes and THC production? Have you found something like that? A magic number for that yet?
I don't think that the reds contribute to the THC production. I think that was more so on the intensity side. So that was a result of too high of a DLI, basically. And yeah, reds. I personally, I'm not completely sold on it yet. The terpene numbers that the LumaGrow study had were kind of not really fully substantial, but it's definitely something that you can do if you want to cut them out for the last, even like 72 hours. You're not going to lose out on a big yield loss or anything like that. Obviously, your 660 nanometer, your deep red, will contribute to more biomass, so it's gonna make your plants yield more throughout the course of flower. But if you're in the last 72 hours, you're already into senescence by triggering senescence with a flush, that kind of deal. You're not really getting weight at that period, in the last 72. So I would say, yeah, if you're going to cut them off for the last 72 and run it like that.
All right, now before I get into my next kind of light question, I want to go back to the DLI subject, and that is, it's a grower is wanting to try to find his tent's or area's DLI number so they can calculate roughly when they can turn the light on and off. How would they come up with a number like that?
Well, there's a lot of DLI calculators out there. If you want to follow what I'm trying to do, Science has a DLI calculator right on their website, and it's got a chart on it that is literally basically like a VPD chart for light. If you've ever seen a VPD chart, it's basically just you go over from the left hand side and you figure out your PBFD. Now your PBFD is honestly, it's kind of hard to, without a good meter, to figure out levels for PPFD. you're going to need an expensive meter like an Apogee or a Lycor. Me personally, I don't even have one of those meters. I literally go based off of the readings that I've been given from science. I've given them specific light levels of where my plants are sitting from the canopy and that type of deal, and I use those. They also have backed those numbers by providing sphere test results, which is super important because LED companies nowadays can kind of tell you whatever the hell they want, and unless they can actually go prove it, you have no idea if they're actually being truthful or not. So having third-party testing is one of my big things with LED companies. If you're gonna, especially if you're making a big investment, always check and make sure that they are doing a third-party testing. But you can get a rough roundabout number from using a lux meter and then transferring or doing a conversion on, there's a waveform, you look it up, it's called lux to PBFD conversion, and they have a waveform calculator where you can go in and put your spectrum in, and if you've got the spectrums that match up, unless you've got some kind of off spectrum, then you can kind of get a rough reading on PBFD that way, and that's a pretty good cheap way to do it. But from there, you figure out where your PBFD is on the left-hand side of that DLI calculator, and then on the top side, it's got your hours per day, and then you can just kind of put those two numbers together to figure out where you're sitting with DLI. As far as veg goes, like I said, dude, I honestly, I think that if you're running LEDs in veg, most people are running into issues. A lot of people are running into issues. I get that a lot of the inquiries that I get, the questions that I get are about veg with LEDs, and it's all purple stems, it's all leaf curl, it's all just sad, stressed looking plants, you know, and a lot of it comes from light intensity. It's crazy how much.
I agree. I've seen a lot of studies lately myself about LEDs.
Just from telling them, just dial it back, man. Just dial it back. Literally, just dial it back. Either dial back the light cycle or just dial back the intensity. If you can't dial back the intensity, dial back the light cycle. You know, I mean, and that has solved so many of these people's problems without even changing any other variables. So it's yeah, that definitely take that into account. But it's when it comes to flowering, that's when I kind of like to stick a little bit more to the DLI chart. In veg, you just need to kind of be, honestly, I think that none of the numbers and information that we've really seen so far is anything that's concrete to me because of what I've seen personally. It doesn't match up. I think that I was trying to run numbers that were totally acceptable and not past the point of light saturation on anybody's standards, and I was still running into light stress. Changed everything down, and that's the only factor that I changed, and everything is super happy, super healthy, all green stems, just beautiful, right? So yeah.
So next thing I want to say is I want to apologize right off the bat before I go any further, because in most of the other shows, it's been a little bit more laid back, laughing and smoking. For one, I know you can't smoke because obviously you're kind of at work and you're suited up and you don't want to fucking go back in there all, you know, contaminated. So I guess that in itself makes it a little bit more. I guess so. That in itself makes it a little bit more serious of an interview here. But moreover, I was hoping, I knew you'd be a good source of knowledge here for it. Not just myself, but for everybody else that was going to tune in. So I knew this was going to be a little bit more serious than the other ones were, just because it was going to be such great info. I just wanted to throw that out there before I
You're
threw
good,
up
man.
on that.
You're good. I like this
Good.
style thing. I mean, that's kind of just where it seems to go whenever I'm on a show, and I'm totally okay with that. It's all good.
Nice. I'm glad. I appreciate it. So my next question for you is, since you are running a rack system and it seems to be more the mention, do you think since you're running your lights a little bit closer and a little bit less light intensity, do you think you could add any benefits by adding the green? Like they're saying, they're now finding out that green does help. It just doesn't penetrate as deep in the canopy. So do you think that adding some green into the lighting system now could bring anything out?
I mean, most most new full spectrum lighting does have green in it. All these lights that I use do have some green in the spectrum, unless it's just a pure, like there are some pure, like I'm not even sure about 3K, 4K. Let me do some looking real quick here. Let's just pull up HLG's website and see what this 550 spectrum looks like. I haven't seen it in a minute. Yeah, no, it's got green in it. Yeah, man, all day, even up to 4K. Yeah, so I mean, most new full spectrum lighting that you're gonna have is gonna have that green in it. The only LEDs that you're gonna be seeing that aren't gonna have that are like blurples, which I hope that people are moving past that. That's a dark history with LED, man.
It is. But we all had to start somewhere. You know what I
Oh
mean?
no, for sure. I was one of those people, man.
Oh, I was myself. I've got some R1600s and some 12s and some eBay lights, a whole stack of them over there myself. So yeah, I'm guilty. So do you want to go into this a little bit further? You want to tell us a little bit maybe what you're feeding and maybe some nutrition tips? I mean, you
For
don't
sure.
have to divulge too much. Like I said, you and I don't want you to, divulge too much secrets here. But
For sure,
just,
for sure.
help give some general tips out for everybody. I'm sure they would all be greatly.
Yeah, man. I'm right now I'm running Floraflex nutrients. It's funny too because I'm doing a document. I've been writing a document today. Everybody's been kind of waiting for it. And I apologize if anybody out there is watching this. I still haven't done that nutrient document that I've told everybody I was gonna have done by Wednesday, but I've been busy. So I do have this document that's coming out where I literally completely go over pretty much everything that I've ever learned about nutrients. So that's going to be available soon. But I'll say right now I run Floraflex nutrients, and I run B1 and B2 in both veg and flour, as a calcium, magnesium. A lot of people call it CalMag. I don't like CalMag. I don't like bottles. I don't like having to pay for water. So I try to do that as little as possible. I do use 2 bottles. Right now I'm using the SLF 100 and I'm using Tribus, but I mean, buying microbes in a powdered form, I don't think necessarily is as good. I do use Recharge as well, which is in a powdered form, I guess. So I do use okay. So I use Recharge for microbes up until day 30 of flower, and then from day 30 on, I use Tribus. So that's my microbe regimen. I use for silica. I use Elite 91 silicic acid. This shit right here, Elite 91. This is a monosilicic acid, and this is the most concentrated form that I think that you can get. It's like 3 point some odd percent of monosilicic acid, which is the most, or no, it's 4.1. It says right there. Sorry. It's the most bioavailable form of silica. So I don't use silica in the res at all. It's not very stable in a res. You have to have perfect conditions in order for it to really last. And my reservoirs sit for upwards of 7 days. So if you're mixing silica, or if you're mixing water by hand to like hand water or whatever every day, then you could totally mix it in, and that's no big deal. But if you're doing it in a reservoir, don't be putting silica in and letting it sit there. It's not going to really do as much. I use it as a foliar spray. The reason I use it as a foliar spray is because it adds as a has an added benefit with having an integrated pest management kind of built into it. The silica actually changes the pH of the leaves, which makes it an unfavorable environment for powdery mildew spores to be able to land and proliferate on the leaves. So that's silica. So microbe silica, my B1 and B2 Floraflex base, and then for CalMag, what I do is I use, right now I'm using Floraflex's Floramag, which is a magnesium sulfate, which is the same thing as Epsom salt. It's basically just a more concentrated form. It's like 16% magnesium, whereas Epsom salt is only around like 8%, I believe. But yeah, you can use Epsom salt as well. Floramag is not on the market yet, so don't try to go out and find that anywhere. So that's for magnesium. That's basically just magnesium and sulfur. Epsom salt, fucking, you can buy that shit anywhere. And then for calcium, I use dissolvine E-CA-10. It also goes by the name of Rexulin, CAEDTA. And that is literally just 10% chelated calcium. It's nothing else. A lot of people on the market, a lot of nutrient companies on the market have like a cal nitrate that they have available. But me personally, I don't like the added nitrogen, especially when I'm in flower. I think that my nutrient regimen has enough nitrogen to get me through. And most of the time in flower, people end up running into a little bit of nitrogen toxicity towards the end due to that cal nitrate that they're supplementing with. So I think that's it.
I believe you kind of answered. Well, I got a question for you, and I think you may have already answered it. I know the answer, and I kind of answered it already, but they didn't ask for my opinion, LostLeaf. They didn't ask for my opinion. Chris Martinez, does LAD require more CalMag in LostLeaf's opinion?
That's a good one. So yes and no. Really depends. It depends upon. I'm finding out that it depends upon a lot upon your spectrum. So if you've got, LEDs are going to drive more magnesium uptake. I don't think that they're going to drive more calcium uptake per se. If you are in cocoa, then obviously you're having to supplement some sort of calcium because calcium leaches, or cocoa leaches calcium. So you need to supplement that. I've found that it's best to supplement more towards the beginning and kind of give that cocoa the buffer, and then start to pull back the calcium once you get into like, week 1, week 2 of flower. Because excess calcium can actually lock out a lot of other nutrients while you're in the course of flower, and you don't want that. So magnesium, I would say yes, for sure. And especially with blues. So if you're running blues in flower, if you're running a lot of blues, you are going to go through a lot of magnesium. Your plants are going to be fucking hungry as shit for magnesium. Blues trigger so many other processes in the plant. It's crazy. And you can really run yourself. It's like a race, you know. You've got all these things that you're trying to juggle. You're trying to juggle your CO2, your environment, your nutrients, the amount of oxygen in the media, all of this stuff, and those blues are just kind of pushing that uptake more and more and more, right? So if you don't have everything supplemented, you can really lose that race really fucking quick. So make sure that you're supplementing with some extra magnesium at least. Like I said, I wouldn't really recommend a CalMag with a heavy lean on the calcium side, like a 5-to-1 plus ratio. I wouldn't go with something like that because you might end up locking out some of the magnesium and the potassium while you're in the course of your flower stage.
Nice. I think for answering that, there was another question. Oh, Lex BMG15 wanted to know. So, do you use V1, V2 in veg?
Nope, I do not. I used to. I toyed with that fucking recipe 50 different times. I was never happy with it. Certain plants would be happy, certain plants would not be happy. I was over it. I saw people having luck with the B1 and the B2 in veg, so I tried it, and fucking plants are happy as shit, man. They're loving it. So, and it's across all of my strains. It's every single plant is happy, super healthy. So.
Nice. Okay, John Polowski wants to know your thoughts on the whole nectar line.
What about the whole nectar line, though? I don't really know a whole lot about Nectar of the Gods, man. I've never really used it, to be honest. So I don't really have a whole lot of an opinion on that. You know, different forms of calcium might be more readily available as well, too. So maybe they're using something that isn't as readily available. Maybe it's more on the organic side. I know that things that are on the organic input side sometimes don't translate into having as much bioavailability. So maybe that's part of their deal. You know, I mean, most nutrient regimens that you run nowadays, they've figured it out. You know, I mean, they've got something that works. For me, it's just about price. You know, like everybody's kind of getting everything from the same source. I feel like it's just kind of like source it where it's the cheapest and still going to be able to do what you need it to do. Yeah.
All right. I know there's another question in chat, but it's more of a business chat now. Business geared question, so I'll kind of leave that one. We're past the business, so if we have time, I'll bring that one back. Chris wants to know like every interview, same old question is what's your favorite strain?
What's my favorite strain? My favorite strain is Death Bear OG. It's been my favorite strain ever since the first time I grew it. I haven't found anything that I like more personally. I've found some good contenders. Terp wise, I think that the thing that came the closest to me was Nugs for Days on Instagram has a rum punch pheno that he selected, and I got some of that from Pure Options at one point on my way back from an event or something, and that shit was wild on the terps. It didn't hit me quite where I wanted it to on the buzz, but it was fucking wild on the terps.
Thank you for answering that. So my next, where I want to take this, I'm guessing since you're a 500 plant grow that you're probably not wet trimming. You're probably doing a dry trim.
Oh, hell yeah.
Correct.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you ain't got time to sit down. You might as well do it when at your convenience instead of,
Yeah,
you know what I
mean,
mean? I can see
for,
that.
for me, it's more than that. I personally, you know, done side by sides with wet trim versus dry trim, and the dry trim is won every single time in my book. So, yeah, that's more of a quality thing, I think.
All right, since you're more of a commercial grower, I'm not even gonna bother asking you what you do with your trim work and whatnot. Because I'm sure that goes off to a processor and it's
It
turned
has
into
to.
some type of
Yep.
extract. That's kind
I'm
of
not even
no
allowed to do
brainer
anything with it.
there. So my next question for you would be, I guess where I want to take that is your thoughts on packaging and you know, keeping your quality out there. You know, maintaining your name as it goes through the processing system. And do you have faith in the processing system in the packaging? So, like, you know, that it can go through the system fast enough and still be a quality product. You know what I mean? And do you have faith in the system that it could sit on the shelf for a minute and still retain its integrity? You know what I mean? Can it make it through a
I
couple processes of the processor? You know what I mean? Because I know it's got to be
feel that.
taken in, sit there for a minute, then it goes to the dispensary, and it's got to be sitting there. And if the market's flooded, then heaven forbid, it may be sitting there a little bit further. You know what I'm saying? So, do you
For
have
sure.
the faith and packaging? Look, I'll let you take it out. You heard the question. You know, take it from there.
Well, you know, once we get to the point where, you know, the market's flooded, that definitely will be more of an issue. Right now, that is absolutely not the issue. If you can pass testing right now, it's few and far between the people that actually can pass testing. That shit's wild out there right now, man. I mean, there are really not a lot of people that can get through the testing without having to use some sort of remediation or use some sort of like the Willow machines that everybody uses nowadays. It's fucking sad. People have to just blast all their shit with ozone because they can't do it. But for us personally, we got our own packaging. So this is what we've got for like our eighth jars. These are our quarter jars.
That's nice.
So these are all like black glass, black tinted glass. So that's going to cut down on the amount of light getting through to the bud, and you know, degrading trichomes, degrading terpenes, all that kind of shit. And then we're also going to have Integra packs in each one of those little guys, just like little 1 gram packs in each one of these to hold it through that process. So even if it doesn't sell right away, then it's still going to be maintained at the right humidity and that kind of deal, and not being so affected by light and stuff like that. So we went through and we did a lot with our artwork. We've got our own artist that is a good friend of ours that we've worked with. This is our Zookies. This is our Swashbuckler.
Fucking beautiful artwork.
Yeah, dude. And we've got some coming for wedding cake, and we've got some coming for mimosa. We've got Mr. Tights cut a mimosa going in this next round. I'm super fucking stoked about that. We've got Primal Punch going in on this next round too, and so that's going to be cool.
You're Lost. Listen to me. You're med. He was on yesterday, and he's a personal friend of mine too. And I know you can reach out to him as well. You gotta get that Primal F2. I'm telling you right now, from grower to grower, you have to reach out to him and ask him if you can get some of that shit. He said there was only like 30 left last night. And I'm growing it. I grew it. If you look down my Instagram, that shit is growing You know, the buds like this, brother. I was showing them on the show on Michigan Bros Grow show. You could see them over my shoulder before the light kicked off. But that shit is so banana. I mean, Chiquita banana all the way through. Not just a a bud and everything, but as you're smoking it all the way through, banana, banana. Then when you get down to that roach there, that flower, it's almost like a baby food banana. I mean, you want to actually burn your fingers with this thing before you put it down. So I
That's
know you
awesome.
have the connections to reach out to him. You need to reach out and get that primal too. So shout out to
For sure,
Mangro. You
for sure,
have
man.
to do that. You have to do it. So I'm
I,
excited
I
that
love
the mimosa and the primal's already there.
I
But
loved our F1, dude. I loved we've got a cut of it. I see Nutrient Shootouts is in chat. He's got the cut too. Um, the pheno that we selected is fucking fire, dude. Fucking fire. A lot of the F1s came out that didn't come out as banana-y, so that's cool. That makes me really want to pursue it because the all of the F1s from all of the testers that we ran through um, were really orange cream leaning, which is awesome too. I mean, it's a fucking unique flavor. So yeah, that's cool, man. You got me excited now.
yeah, and also pheno that swashbuckler too as well, right?
Yeah, man. We've got two phenos of swashbuckler. We've got what we call our golf ball leaner, or our golf ball pheno, and then we've got the rift leaner. Um, and the golf ball pheno is very cookie leaner, but she's fucking crazy, dude. Like, I posted a picture of throwback from a couple of years ago, one of our first times running that strain, dude, and the lowers were as big as the tops. The lowers were like literal just fucking rocks all the way down to the bottom, man. It was amazing. And the smell on that shit is literally so crazy. Right now it's got like a, through flower, it's got like a citrusy, piney kind of smell. But when it gets to the point of being harvested, it literally smells like fucking dad cologne, like fucking like jupe. You ever smelled like jupe before? It's shit's fucking, it's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
weird, but it's so good at the same time.
Yeah, it's a weird smell. Gus was talking about making his own the other night. But yeah, that's awesome because it was shrimp, right? That was the breeder of that from Ocean Grown. So I
Yes, sir.
believe I grabbed a pack of that shit the last time I seen him. He was like, because I'm always looking for the limited shit, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
And I remember you passing me the sample, and I was like, yeah, I think I want some of that. So I snagged me up a pack of that. It's good
for
to
sure,
hear
for
all
sure.
that shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was a good that was a good time, man. It sucks not being able to have events this year. That's I was really excited to get into it, especially because we finally got the facility all up and running and shit, and was like, oh man, we're gonna have Cannabis Cup's gonna be fun, all that shit, but it's what it is. Honestly, I probably don't think I would have been able to go to Cannabis Cup either way because my son is supposed to be born. My first kid is supposed to be born like 3 days before Cannabis Cup was supposed to be. So I'm like, that's probably not happening.
Yeah, deterred a little bit before I got to give you the mad props on that packaging, man, and not going with some little rinkety, uh, bag you could just drop your butt in and shoot a little nitrogen in it. That's quality packaging right there. I mean, that's beautiful artwork. You took the time to get a dark jar, and it's an actual jar itself. I mean, that's something that I know if I were to stop into a provisioning center and snag that up, I'd keep that jar. I like
For
that.
sure.
I'd actually, that'd sit on a shelf and shit if I didn't fucking reuse that shit. I
Hell
like it.
yeah,
It's
man.
cool. So it's
We've,
off
we've
for
got
you to
like,
you for putting in that extra expense there.
yeah, dude. I mean, it's definitely an expense. It's a huge expense. It's not only an expense by means of the actual packaging itself. It's an expense that we have to package it. Like, we're gonna package all that shit here ourselves. I'm not gonna send it out to some dispensary and then trust that they're going to weigh everything out exactly how, you know, they say they're going to. Like, I don't want that to be something on that comes back on us. So we're going to be packaging everything here in house.
Well, not just that. We were talking about, you know, it sitting around in degradation and it still having your name on it. You sure don't want somebody sitting on, you know, a big unit and then breaking it up, like you said, letting it degrade. You don't know how long they're going to lay it out on the table before it gets weighed up.
Or if they're going to
And
whip it, you know, whip the turkey bag into the fucking storage, you know.
Yeah, and you know that's got your name on it. You know, piss on that. So I appreciate the fact that you're going through them extra steps to maintain a good name for yourself.
For
You know,
sure.
I
We've
appreciate
also,
that. I do.
you know, like, worked with the dispensaries that we're working with. We've kind of, you know, had to sort through some and be like, okay, we're not going to work with these people because we don't want to just be another jar on a shelf. I want this packaging to be on the shelf so people can see this. Yeah, sure, we're gonna have like a display jar where you can smell and whatnot, that kind of deal. But then I want this to be on the shelf to be like, this is what it is. You know, I don't want to just be some where people got the buffet style, whatever, where it's just a bunch of jars, which with a little label sticker on the front of, oh, this is, you know, Primal Punch, or this is Death Bear OG. You know, it's like it totally takes away from your brand. It takes away from your name. It takes away from all the hard work that you did to get that product to where it is.
I agree wholeheartedly, and that's, you know, that's the tough thing to put out there. That's your name, that's your branding, that's everything. You know, if you're not doing it for yourself, you're really risking a huge beating if you know you're putting that in somebody else's hands.
For sure.
So yeah, I just wanted to grab 1 second with that beautiful strains and packaging. Now's a perfect opportunity for you to tell somebody where they could maybe pick some of that up. Is there a provisioning center or somewhere where they can grab some of that awesome LostLeaf bud?
Not yet. There will be in June. Early June is when we're going to have our first harvest. Right now we're on day 31 or 32 of flower. So it's going to be, by the time it gets dried, trimmed, tested, packaged, and sent out to the dispensary, it's probably going to be right around the first week of June for Zookies, and then the Death Bear and the Swashbuckler will immediately follow that. Probably the week after, or so, a week or 2 weeks after that. But we are for sure working with Consano in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. The other dispensary that we are thinking that we're going to work with is Red Bud Roots up in Traverse City. And then we're probably thinking about going down towards Grand Rapids, maybe working with Flourish down there. I haven't actually initiated any talks or anything with that, so that's not concrete yet. But we're thinking that that's probably where we'll head, because that's like where me and my business partner were like born and raised, was like Grand Rapids area. So it'd be cool to have some product down there.
Nutrient Shootouts wants you to talk a little bit about, are you still running the rainbow chip? I remember I got a sample of it. That was a pretty good one. As you were trying to pick everybody's brains at that point, which one you were going to kind of weed out. So did you end up keeping the rainbow chip?
I actually don't have the rainbow chip right this second. I had to actually source it back through the growers. Nutrient Shootouts actually got a cut for me. I've got a couple other people that actually approached me that have a cut as well. And that's what's cool about being able to, go back on when I was like giving out cuts like that, when I was kind of sharing the genetics, because if you don't do that, then you're never gonna have a way to get it back. If you just trying to hoard it for yourself, like same thing with Death Bear. Death Bear has been a little bit different though, because I've never sold that strain. That's always been like if I knew a grower for quite some time and we had been shooting the shit for quite some time and stuff, that was just kind of like a gift type deal. Like you take this and I know you're gonna like it and shit. And I'm not gonna charge you anything for it, but that's just kind of like growers respect kind of deal, So that thing's always been kind of cool, kind of like a close thing with me. But the rainbow chip pheno that we had pheno hunted was just straight fucking purple. Came out straight purple bud in the end. Was a really, really fucking awesome terpene profile. Only tested around like 20% THC, which, kind of sucks nowadays, man, because that's another thing with the market is like, it doesn't matter if it's literally one of the best strains that you've ever had, the best smoke that you've ever had. If it doesn't test above 25%, you're not getting the same ticket for it, which to me is kind of fucked up.
That's a shame.
It's stupid. THC is not the end all for what you're gonna feel or anything like that. It's all those cannabinoids in combination with all the terpenes, and I think there's even more to it that we don't even know yet. And so to just kind of throw all the rest of the plant of this fucking amazing flower away and just say I'm gonna base everything off of that THC percentage is just stupid and uneducated and ignorant to me.
It is, and it's sad because some of the better bud I feel is right around that 20% range. For me, once you get over that 30%, you're losing some terpenes, and for me, it just seems to cause more anxiety than anything.
For sure, for sure.
You need that terp profile and the whole entourage effect.
The idea
more enjoyable buzz.
The idea of that higher THC percentage came in from Prohibition era, like back when they were trying to stuff as much alcohol as they could possibly get into one fucking bottle, and for some reason that kind of translated over into our industry, which doesn't really even make any sense to me because it's just not the same, like it's not as enjoyable. There's actually a cannabis cup that they have. I don't know, I forgot what it's fucking called, but it's a cup where they literally take and do their judging on the different strains, and they wait like a full 24 to 48 hours in between each one of these. They take this shit really seriously and do like a full panel and figure out like which is the most enjoyable and all that kind of shit. And it's not based off of test results or anything like that. And most of the time, the winners end up being in that 18 to 22% for the most enjoyable buzz. It's rarely above 25% because, realistically, like that's not what is the most enjoyable.
I wholeheartedly agree. I've been lucky enough to be a cannabis cup judge a couple of times, and for me, it hasn't been that THC number. I can, I'm not that impressed with something that's fully in sugar covered anymore. I give something that is, right up the middle, smells really good. I mean, that's really important to me. When I crack that bud open, I want a nice terp profile, and that in itself should unlock something in your head. It's going to tell you right away, what it's already mapped out right there where it's going to take you. It's going to be pleasurable. This is going to cause me anxiety. It's almost right there. It's just like when you crack it open, it's already mapped out right there.
For sure.
Yeah. It's been a great interview so far. All right, since I'm kind of stuttering here and thinking it's you've answered so many, you've jumped ahead of me so many times in what I was going to ask you. This has been totally awesome. So I guess I'll go back and ask Shredder's question. Can you offer some advice or tell anybody about the business licensing process right now in Michigan, how bad that is, and you know anything about the fees? So that's, I guess that was what he was wanting to ask.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
are the fees?
It's definitely gotten a lot more streamlined. The very first board that they had that was reviewing all of the licenses was fucking god awful. They had an ex cop on there that was just had a fucking power trip from I don't know when, and it was bad. It was bad news. We got in right after that board got abolished and the new board was formed, and they totally just streamlined this whole process. So for us, it was $6,000 for our background check, and that goes over all of your history of your, it goes over like 3 years of your bank account statements of anything tied to your social security number. And for every cash deposit over $1,000, you have to explain where that money came from. So that shit's pretty fucking in depth. And then they go on a crazy background check all the way back to like when you were born. And anything on your criminal history, if you don't disclose it, then usually you have to end up filing an appeal because you will not get through if you don't disclose something from your criminal history. I'm talking shit, even like parking tickets and shit like that. They've gotten people for parking tickets. So there's that. So that's the background check. And then there's $5,000 to your municipality. It's a $5,000 max, but they're going to charge you $5,000. They're allowed to charge you $5,000. So why wouldn't they? That's basically, you can just count that as $5,000. That is a renewable fee. The $6,000 background check is not a renewable fee. And then once you have all of your certificate of occupancy, once you have all of everything is all set and you're all ready to go, you've gotten your fire safety inspection and all that stuff done, then right at the end you pay your assessment fee, and that is to get your license. That is a renewable yearly fee as well. For us, that was a $10,000 max, and then once you get up into the like class B and class C range, and processor and dispensary, all of those right now I think are hovering around like 65,000, something like that, and that's a yearly fee. So yeah, that's pretty much all of the fees.
Damn. So LostLeaf. So I've heard you say it in the beginning, and I heard you. I can understand right now. You know, you being a business owner, and it sounds like you are the man there. You know, you're doing it all. Do you get any free time? And if so, what the fuck do you get to do, bro?
Nah, dude, I don't really have a whole lot of free time. That's for sure. Honestly, my free time always ends up just being me like thinking about plants or like something like that. It's never like just you know, I don't know. I have to really try because of you know, my wife is you know, like 7 months pregnant right now. So I what little time I do have for free time, I give to her, and I try to do as much as I can around the house. You know, by means of like fixing shit up. I've fixed up a lot of stuff in the house, redid the floors, you know, that kind of shit. Just to try to like, you know, make her happy and ease her mind through this whole thing. So if I were to take any of my free time and really dedicate it to
myself, I think that my relationship would kind of suffer from that, and that's not. I'd rather be, happy wife kind of deal. So, but I do dedicate a lot of time to the Instagram as well. It's amazing how much time that really does take from the day, and that's why I've like I said, I've moved towards putting these documents out so that when people come to me with these questions, that's another big thing about, like, when all these people have come to me with these questions and stuff. It's gotten me to the point where I can literally, like, ask people a very specific set of questions and, like, totally diagnose whatever the fuck is wrong with their garden, like, literally in no time, because it's been 6 years of people coming to me with every single problem that they've ever had in a garden, so I've kind of taken that and put it into these documents so that it gives a well-rounded answer for everybody that's going to come to me in the future, so that I can spend more time on this business, my family, that kind of thing,
Man, I have appreciated all you've dropped a ton of knowledge on. I'm gonna have to go back over this tonight myself and just listen to this whole thing and just suck it back up. And that's no word of a lie. Secondly, I guess I want to fucking I try to get all my guests, because sooner or later I'm getting up there. This is episode 16 and they're fucking steamrolling, brother. I try to get all my guests to, spit out one time, that sound bite, in case I ever get that big to where I can do 100 episodes, dude, and I can string them all together. Where are you at tonight, and what are you doing, LostLeaf? Can you give me that sound bite?
Where am I at? What am I doing? I'm sitting in my facility. I just got done doing a foliar spray with my trusty little paint sprayer, spraying some silica foliar spray on my veg plants. And
no, brother. No, my sound bite. What are you doing right now, and what show are you on?
Oh, fuck. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, man. I'm big. I am fucking talking shit with Eagle.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted, a good soundbite from you. Secondly, while we were talking about donating some time, I was going to fucking talk to you this, hopefully a little bit before the show, but we didn't get a chance. And at some point, I'm sure you're not going to go the duration with me. Because there's times, man, this show's went, if you look back at some of these episodes, man, some of them have went 4 or 5 hours long. And, I encourage everybody, you ain't got to watch all that shit or whatever, but there's a lot of good information in there, Fast forward it through it, put it on. You ain't got to watch that shit. Just listen to it, whatever. But there's been a lot of good shit going on there. And I appreciate the time you've donated to me tonight. But last night's session, the bonus section, we were all talking. Charlie's farm was here. Red Setter Farm was on, and Smiley's Garden was on, and we were just, session, just talking some bullshit. I had the main episode early in the day with Med Grower 1, so we were just kind of talking some shit and having fun and playing on the air. And Smiley came up with a great idea, and I'm gonna run with it. And I hope I know you're busy, man, and you just talked about donate some time, but I'm hoping maybe, just maybe, you can help me with this. Smiley's idea was to have a 420 marathon. I'm going to do it here on my channel, 24 hours. I'm going to start the prior night at 11:30, okay? I'm going to kick it off with that show, and then I'm going to take it on, and I'm going to let some of my trusted colleagues from the Bros Grow show kind of jump in and take care of the show while I get a little bit of rest. But the stream's going to go 24 solid, you know what I mean? And we're going to do it as a cannabis, because 420 might get a bad we're at, but we're kind of wanting to hope to show the community here that we can celebrate a great day and do something positive. So what we're going to do is we're going to go 24 hours. We're hoping to get like you on maybe for maybe an hour and talk to who's ever on, and that we're like three people jump blocks. I'm thinking we'll stagger it so like halfway through your block somebody else will come in, and it will like regenerate the chat a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
For
But
sure, man.
we're gonna pick out. We're going to pick out a charity. So myself won't be handling any kind of money. We're just going to pick out a charity, and we're going to ask all donations to go straight to that PayPal. So we know it's going right to the source, and there's no bullshit, whatever it happens. You know what I'm saying? There's no ifs, ands, or but what happened with the money. It goes directly there. In the end, they can tell us what we did. But and I'm not asking you to commit to a time slot right now. I'm just asking. You've already said you would, but I appreciate that. If you could jump in some point in that 24 hours, maybe I don't care if it's 4 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 10 o'clock at night. You know, I'll pencil you in for whenever you get back with me and tell me you can jump in and play with us. I'm gonna try to get Med and everybody in on this just to make it as fun.
Hell yeah,
and,
dude. I'm down.
show we fucking care for something.
I'm
Yeah,
a morning
you down?
person, so I'm a morning person. I'll be down for a morning slot.
Yeah, you just get back with me. I'm not expecting you to nail. You know, I'm not nailing you down right now, but just within the next week, have preferably early as possible, so I can schedule. But it just be like, yeah, man, I'm down from like 8 to 9, whatever day, and then I'll plan accordingly. So whatever
For
time
sure.
you're down for, just get back with me, and I'll schedule this all together. And I appreciate it.
Sounds good.
I'm glad to see you're excited about the idea too.
Yeah,
And I
dude, that's a
appreciate
dope
all
idea.
this fucking time. You said you
I
might
mean,
give me an hour. You doubled that time. And
yeah,
this is this is fucking awesome.
I always lose track of time. That's because I tell myself that it's going to be an hour, and it always ends up being 2 hours. I actually do a webinar with solventless bacon vape on his YouTube as well. He live streams it, and we do it on Zoom. Same type of deal. That's Wednesdays at noon Michigan time, 9 o'clock Pacific time, and that's every Wednesday. And it's funny because we've been doing it. I think we've only done like 4 shows now, but it's always supposed to be an hour, and it always ends up being at least 2 hours.
Just repeat everybody here so they know where to check that out. I mean, as you can see, he's already provided us with a ton of great information. So it sounds like if you can check him out once a week
Yeah, man, you can check it out. The easiest way to find it is we'll make a post about it. I make a post about it every week right around Tuesday, right before we're gonna do it, either that morning or the night before. I'll make a post about it, but you can go follow Solventless BNV on Instagram, and you can go to his webpage through his Instagram, and he has it right on there on his events, the link to the Zoom chat. So you guys can check that out live. We do that live, and then he actually holds that off for an entire week until he posts last week's webinar. And he does that so that he can, for his patrons, he has a Patreon account, and for his patrons, he allows them to have that early access to the webinar. So.
Appreciate you throwing that out there and letting people know where they can source some more knowledge for you. Is there anybody else you want to give some shout outs to? I mean, this is your soapbox, brother. This is your time slot. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. You know, this is over.
yeah, for sure, man. I think that I'm probably gonna head to bed soon, but I'll definitely do some shout outs real quick. I gotta shout out all my people in
fucking, we've got this Insta growers chat. So we've got like, we've been having a barbecue every year. It kind of sucks this year. We can't fucking do this shit because this whole coronavirus bullshit. But I've got a whole chat full of awesome growers that we've just
Yeah, every one
kind
of
of
them
carried
out.
this
Do
chat
not miss one of
through.
them.
For sure,
Get them
for
all.
sure.
Don't miss one.
So we've got Dave's Not Here on Instagram. We've got Wolverine Grower on Instagram. We've got Double D Organic on Instagram. These are all on Instagram, by the way. We got Smoky 616. We got Limited Filter. We got T Cheese 420. We got Jurassic SOP. Fuck, man, I gotta get on the list and figure out who else is on this bitch. There's so many people
I
on there.
recognize every name so far, but keep them going. Get on that list, man. Shout
we got-
them all out. There's not this. That's what this show's about. Is
We got
get them all.
BG underscore WG420. He's been the host of the fucking barbecues, dude. That dude is so cool. He's fucking hooked me up with clones, helped me out with more clones when I needed them. Just a really fucking cool dude. We got Alaska Med Grower, Billy Davis, Dynasty Farms, GMXOG, Joda Herb, Lorax 315, my boy Magic Meds. He's just getting back into it. He's been fucking traveling, but that dude has some mad good information too on his site, man. Got MK Trooper, Rooster Farms, THC Force Ghosts. Yeah, that's about it, man.
God damn, I recognize all of them names, all of every one of them. I recognize those names.
For sure, for
That's
sure.
a fucking power group right there, man.
Yeah, man.
That is a
it's
fucking
definitely
wealth
cool.
of knowledge.
We met up, from doing the whole barbecue thing. It was just kind of like we went to BG's house the one time, and we ended up doing it again, and it was just a super fucking cool thing. And we're all a lot of us have different mentalities and different methods and that kind of shit, and that's why it's a really cool group to shoot the shit with, because not everybody's just doing everything the same exact way, so aside from that, I've got to fucking give a shout out to Meg Grower, man. He's been a big inspiration from the get go, and I think that him, just the way that he's come along in his growing and being able to kind of step out of the box of what he was used to doing before, and really trying to push himself forward and perfect his craft and get better at it. I fucking love that shit, man, because a lot of people, a lot of old head growers, which I fucking appreciate the hell out of the people who've been doing this for a long time, but a lot of them get stuck in their ways, man, and it makes me sad to see that people don't want to progress, because obviously knowledge progresses, technology progresses, everything is progressing, and if you're just sitting stagnant, then you're not going anywhere. And I think that he's a really good example of a person who's been able to kind of step out of their comfort zone and figure out some new tech and shit, and being able to share it along the way too, so and being really transparent.
I agree. I said this very same thing to his face yesterday, and a lot of people, like you say, reach a plateau where they think that it's, I've achieved it, but it takes, a better person to pick it up and raise that bar again. And he's done that with his breeding. He mastered and honed the growing style, and he mastered, we all watched him go through every style and everything. Then to get bored with that, then to pick it rather than get bored with it, he decided to pick it up again and take off with breeding again. Hopefully he don't get tired of the breeding and can find at that point another level to take it up to. You know what I'm saying? find a way
sure.
to scale it up and keep him hungry at that
I'm
point.
excited to see what
At
his
this
next
point,
projects are, man. That Primal Punch times Wedding Cake, I think he's doing, man. Oh, fuck! I'm excited for all of his new projects, dude. He's got some fire lined up. I know he does.
Yeah, and you know, that's another thing too, for being, you know, his freshman effort out, that fucking Primal Punch and shit, you know, that he
Knocked it out
nailed
the
it right
fucking
off the
park.
bat.
It
He's
was
been
amazing.
killing it ever since. Not many people can do that shit, you know.
Nah,
That's pretty awesome.
totally agree, man.
So, brother, I'll let you get back to bed, or get to bed rather. You look tired. You've been fucking. I know you've been kicking ass all day, and I appreciate every second that you've given me tonight and dropping all this knowledge on people in the chat and the people. There's a whole nother wave that watches this, you know, tomorrow in the morning. So
Oh hell yeah, for
it'll
sure.
get a whole nother crowd tomorrow. So I appreciate that, and I know they do because they've been saying it all night in chat. What a great show this was. And I hope maybe sometime on top, I getting greedy here, LostLeaf, getting greedy. On top of, you know, getting you back for the charity thing, I hope sometime a little further out we'll give you a break and we can get you back and you can tell us, you know, an update on how things are going then. I'd really appreciate that.
I'd love that, man, and I'd love to get to the point where I can maybe take some footage or something like that of what we got going on in here and kind of show everybody through the whole thing. That'd be dope.
Yeah, I actually put some time lapse. I fuck around a little bit. I'm starting to pick up my game a little bit. But I went through and I just finished the last, all my grow areas now I have cameras on them. And I'm doing like time lapse videos. You know, this
That's
last
dope.
LED, I did a run for a company called Active Grow LED. They sent me a nice 660 prototype bar type, you know, and it killed it. It killed it. But I did a whole time elapse from veg to Med Growers One's donkey dicks in there, all time elapse, and I'm getting ready to drop that on Instagram here, you know, next week or so. But super cool shit to watch that plant go from veg. I mean, you can see them, the flowers develop, and they end up getting to be these donkey dicks that end up just falling over. And unfortunately, you have to see me get in there like mid time elapse and straighten everything back out, you know, make everything stand back up. And I actually had to put a bar, well, you know, the bars they put across the tent. I actually had to put it like backwards, so it was catching its way out. And to keep the plant in there, to retain it, I had to clip it up there to keep it, you know, keep everything in there. But that like kicked
That's funny.
ass, man, and it looked really cool on time elapse. So I hope you
Yeah,
get a
time
chance
lapses
to
are
check
dope,
that out.
especially the plants, man. I mean, that's a good 2 months you got sitting there. Fucking, it's cool to be able to see it all at once.
Yeah, it is. So thanks again, brother, and it's been too cool. I know everybody appreciates this, and you didn't have to do it, and I know you're time strapped, so you know, thank you, brother.
For sure, man. I appreciate everybody that's watching. Thanks everybody for watching. Hope that you picked something up from it. And thanks Eagle for having me on, man.
No problem. We'll talk to you again soon.
Peace.
Peace. LostLeaf. Wasn't that a fucking great interview? Fucking what can I say about him? I knew it was gonna be, he was gonna, didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you he was gonna come drop some fucking knowledge on us? Fucking tonight, Mr. Empire Breeding Company. Thank you, man. I've been talking about your strains and you and Med all week long. Got much love for you guys. You know that shit. Much respect. Thank you for joining in. But if you enjoyed that, you'll much enjoy tomorrow's episode as well. We've got an interesting female grower coming in here tomorrow to drop us some incredible knowledge. She's a Russian native. She's been over here growing now for better than 10 years, and she's got some really cool tech she's going to drop in and talk about. She's also a lab technician with dealing mainly her interest dealing in terp profiles and the experiments into terp profiles. And she's also a cannabis reporter. So I'm sure she's going to just spill some knowledge on us again tomorrow night, as much as LostLeaf did. For real, I'm going to have to go back through and listen to this great episode. So on top of Miss, I might as well say your name, Sonia, say what? On Instagram will be here tomorrow. Tanaze Gardens will be here Tuesday to talk a little bit of fun, super fun content. I don't want to divulge that. Sonsanddaughters.org will be here Sunday, or excuse me, Wednesday to talk about their charity and tell us how they got their fight going. That's going to be super interesting. And Thursday, Cali fucking connections. California. I want to bring up his. Everybody knows him as Cali, but I want to make sure and bring up his correct because I'm got cotton mouth and I don't want to misspeak. It is Cali Outdoor Connections is who he is, and he's the original weed nerd from many years ago. I'm sure you remember him. He used to log on and drop us all kinds of good information, outdoor tips. He's going to be dropping us fucking tons and tons of outdoor tips and just positive vibes on us Thursday. We got Boom Farms that will be joining us Friday. Canada Trooper and Date Man Dan will be popping in. And then we got a few extra bullshit going in light of that 420 marathon. We're going to have 420, all proceeds going to charity. I am going to prop my eyes open for you guys and just see if I can just bring you as much content as I can to show the public and everybody else that 420 isn't just a stoner holiday, that we can spread love and do something positive while we're having a super fun day in session. Let's show the world that we can do something positive. Again, make sure to check out Empire Breeding Company. He has so many great strains over there: the barbecue gorilla, the lemon lava drops, the Jesus juice, the duct tape, fucking the dominatrix that I'm running right now. That is fucking super fire. Pine lemon terps, that's super awesome. Great strain, fucking big donkey dicks as well. He was in the tent right next to Med Grower One's Primal Punch F2s. Make sure. So I'm ready to fucking roll up a fatty and just hang out and relax. Oh, I guess I still got a bit of a fatty here, so I'm gonna relax a minute with you guys and get something to drink. As always, if there's somebody that would like to jump in and say hello, hi, and talk some shit for a minute before we fade out. Well, it's way past Easter now, but I guess it's still continuing on this Easter edition of fucking talking shit with Eagle. Go ahead and raise your hand and maybe I can toss you some digits. Now I think I'm gonna just sit here and chill and see if chat. What's chat smoking on? Let's see what we got here. We still got 51 amazing people watching this tonight. What are you stoking on while you've watched me just finish up with that amazing interview? Let's see that. Nutrient Shootouts. How you doing tonight? Boom Files. How you doing tonight? B-Rad 420. Thank you so much for popping in. Mike Jones. How you doing? Of course, Empire Breeding Company. I appreciate you for all the fire you've thrown us and the knowledge you've helped everyone, including myself, acquire through the years. We owe you very much love. My daughter, Lexi I, that's my baby girl right there. You've heard some stories about her and some cool times. Make sure and give her some love as well. Jimmy Craig Seeds, you're a regular every night. I appreciate you 100%. BN Plasma, you're an old school weed nerd. Welcome. I like to see you popping into chat now. That's super cool. Smiley's Garden, of course. I don't want to take any of that idea from Smiley. Smiley is the idea man behind the marathon. So he needs all the shout outs and credits for that shit. John Ram, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the show. Aldridge 25, appreciating you. Who else is in here? Pushing positivity. I seen that early on. I was like, man, what a fucking great name. Smoking Grove Frazier, I appreciate you as well. You die hard from day one. You have been here enjoying many, many episodes so far. 16 to be exact. They're starting to come along as I'm starting to get Chris Martinez. Hello, how you doing? John Pulowski, that's a new name. As I get this journey moving, people are starting to raise their hand and join in this journey with me, and it's been too fucking cool, man. Too cool doing this every night with you. I thought I might be able to, might get sick of it, but no, my hunger has grown day by day to be able to sit here and kind of almost selfishly soak up some knowledge from you awesome growers, awesome folks, not just YouTubers, but everybody else that's been on the fucking show. It's been super cool, super duper cool. And I hope you've all been enjoying it thus far. I know I have. And it's going to get better. I've reached out to a bunch of super cool people, and they're starting to raise their hand, join in. I actually contacted Father Mike yesterday. He said he was interested. I haven't nailed down a date with him, but I got a feeling he's going to come on. So that'd be another cool episode as well. Not that anyone is any better or worse or less important than the other. Smoking a little Primal Punch F1 right here with a little bit of bubble hash in it. Keep it rocking. Thank you. I appreciate that. See you fucking finish up listening to this burner that we were rocking out before LostLeaf jumped in. Burner one. Good tune. Very appropriate. Why I toke on this fatty. And I wish I had that cuvee. I know I gave all my seeds back to sub for the recreation of the F2s, and I kind of got fucked on getting some seeds back, but that's cool. I was smart enough to bank some cuts. So Kyle Weed Nerd sitting on my cuvee cut, and he's working with it out there in Cali, making us all some good creations with it. So I know it's safe. It's not going anywhere. That's what you do. You find that good keeper cut, and then that's the secret. You don't give it to somebody that's going to profit off it. You give that cut to somebody that really enjoys that strain for what it is, and then pass it to them, because then it's more likely to be there when you need it. They was dank as fuck. Super delicious. Yeah, you can get it in 50 packs, but that wasn't the deal. I was supposed to get the first round of the disasters and kind of whatever. Ain't going on there. Fumador has some nice picks. Of course Fumador has nice picks. That's what he does. He's a fucking picture badass. I love his photography and his hats off to him. He took the tester level to a fucking new level. He did with his photography. That's some straight up shit right there. I'm a huge fan of all his picks, man. He just gets right in there. Beautiful trichome shots. I'm a fan of the black background and the spinning bud. Fucking, he's definitely got some cool shit going on over there. That's off for Fumador. I've reached out to him as well. he said he'd come on and chuck it up with me. I'm hoping that he'll schedule that sometime soon. Please, Fumdor, if you're watching this, let's make that day happen. Let's pencil that shit in. Keep this content going for these great folks. That's the way I see it. I am going to run as many people by you as I can. That is my promise to you guys with the Talking This Shit with Eagle episodes. I'm just reaching out to as many great people as I can and hoping to bring them on, let them introduce themselves, offer whatever tips, great tips they have up to you guys, and you guys can wade through them. And, you know, find them gems yourself. That's what I say. Find them yourself. And yeah. Man, I am stoked. I can't believe 44 people were watching. Not even like a week ago. I was stoked to be doing this for 4, and I would still be stoked to be doing this for those 4 people. But to see there 44, I just don't. I don't even know what to say to that, guys. I appreciate it so much. I just want to throw that shit out there. Fucking doobie's good. I've been smoking that last run of fucking hash I did. It was fucking so nice. I've been able to just fucking sprinkle that shit on everything ever since wash day. So yeah, it's good times. I love it. I watched Red Setter Farms the other night pull out his hash box on one of the sessions, and I couldn't believe it. I don't have that self control to just put a nice thing of hash back. I've got to just indulge on it. I call it hash comas every time I wash. I go into a little fucking hash coma there for about a month as I'm throwing that shit just in and on everything. Excuse me, I'm sorry. What is up? The School of the Crop. That's a new name, and I'm super glad to see you join me tonight. The better of the show has wound down. LostLeaf has checked out, and from a super hard day of work, I am sure. Much deserved rest. Me, myself, I'm a little bit of a night owl. So do you like that Primal Punch F2? That's a fucking silly question. I love the F2. I told Med that to himself, and it's sad because I've run all of his gear, and the F1 is the staple, and obviously a great stream. But man, F2, in my opinion, it's amazing. It's fucking. That's not even bullshit. It's amazing. It rocks that banana terps. It's huge yielder, big, huge, dense buds. You know that. And it smokes just like the terps, just like the bag terps are. It smokes just like that all the way through. It's like I told LostLeaf, man, it tastes like a fucking like a banana, fucking baby food, jar of food, baby food banana, just smashed. Oh, it's fucking delicious. What can you say about that F2 is? I hope more becomes available sometime. Edibles, fucking love them. Wish I had some right now. I love the edibles. I love my flower, but I love me some edibles, man. That is such a good, relaxing body buzz. As long as you know you've had them and you know how to delegate them, a little bit here, a little bit there as the day goes on. They might hit you and make you sleepy if you slam that thing all at once. But if you take some and work your way through it, man, it's a great all day body buzz. And the other thing I like about the edibles is I get that laughiness that I rarely get from flour. Some good flowers, you know, it's good time, man. I haven't had some. I had some stuff back when I was ninth, 10th grade, I want to say. We were paying about fucking $50 a quarter for that shit. And that shit was just best shit to this day. I still smoke, man. You could smoke one joint of that fucking between 6 people and your face would hurt from laughing. Your gut would hurt. Best good time fucking weed I ever did smoke. And I wish I could get a hold of that cat just to find out what the strain was so I could fucking try to backtrack some of that shit. Man. Just amazing. Piney skunk. That old shit that you can't find no more. That old piney skunk you just don't get no more. Kevin Jordry kind of said that shit. And I believe it to be true. Excuse me. I believe a lot of strains like that got washed out just because they were ahead of the indoor growing curve. You know, they were just too loud. They were just too loud to try to take indoors, and there wasn't the charcoal filters and being able to maintain the smells just wasn't there yet. It was fucking getting people busted. So people ultimately kind of started shelving it because they couldn't handle it. They couldn't control it. It was too big of a security risk. So they just moved on to, more sugary, less terpy buds that they didn't have to worry about so much as security risk. And I believe that to be true. I hope in time we're still tracing them down, and people like myself and Empire Breeding Company and Mr. Tight or Med Grower One, all them breeders, are making huge efforts into bringing that shit back. So hopefully we can rediscover that piney skunk that we all remembered from when we were younger. That fire shit. That there's good fire going now, but maybe it's just more nostalgic for me, I guess. And Galactic Jack's fucking good smoke. Man, I hope fucking this shit gets by us all soon and we can hopefully get back to having events and trusting each other enough to fucking eat some cookies and shit. We were kind enough to pass to each other. Yeah, that strawberry cough times gelato times Puma does fucking sound good. Sounds super good. Man, I gotta get something else besides this coffee. Oh, I know what I bought. If you guys don't mind me chomping on a chip for a second. The ultimate cure for cotton. Right there. Extreme crunchy flavor. Hot. Flaming hot. Extreme. Fuck. Raised it up from the smoke. And I'm like, yeah, here's the flaming hot. I feel that waterworks just fucking pouring in. I just realized you guys couldn't even hear the music. Yeah. That's how you get rid of cottonmouth right there. Woo! Yeah. My mouth's just fucking dripping right now. Cottonmouth gone. I have some Galactic Jack seeds, but I don't have no cuts growing. I love this Merc song. Fuck yeah. I just thought I better turn that down a little bit. I don't want to lose this fucking great info with LostLeaf. Don't want them flag my shit and pull that good shit down. Gotta be careful. I don't want to go back. Man, I can't believe there's still 35 awesome people watching this. I'm super glad that I'm seeing so many weed nerds gather to this. That's fucking amazing myself, man. That was a community there that I was afraid that was going to be lost. You know, like most good families, and I believe a lot of us kind of feel like we're family. We got to know each other. I did grow Uva. It was fucking grew through fucking big old donkey dicks. Fucking, it was good strain, earthy grapes. Kind of favored a Corco kind of flavor to it. It was good. But it's nice to see, like, you know, when a family, and we did become a family. I mean, the weed nerd community went on for at least, you know, 15, 16 years. And we got to know each other in chats, you know, see each other every fucking night. I know I always look forward to seeing a lot of your guys' name pop up in chat. It kind of made my night to, like Naughty Nicky says, fucking weed nerd for life, pound. That shit was fucking awesome, you know, when we chowed each other out. We all know that was a great fucking time for us all, even though, you know, even through the controversial times when he was taking a beating for us all, you know what I mean? We still showed up, showed our love for him. Moreover, we showed up for each other, I think, as well. You know what I mean? We all wanted to, we showed up for him, but we showed up to, you know, say hi to each other. It's fucking awesome that a lot of those names and people from that community have found their way, you know, back this way and are able to reconnect. Because, like most families, you know, we did splinter there for a bit when he passed, which happens to a lot of families when that hub passes on. But it's cool to see that some of us have like kind of refound each other. Awesome, awesome. Hats off to each and every one of you for coming back around. Yeah, see, he was a good guy. He, you know, he fucking dealt us all seeds. You know, God, he dealt me fuck tons, dude. Mad props. And I think you know, in a lot of ways, it showed unexpectedly or unintentionally, probably mountains after you. You know, and I believe a lot of people show us do. So that's good. Being pious, we never. Nobody should be taking sides in any of this cannabis bullshit. You know, any of these breeder feuds. You know, things you see splinter. Uh, Other seed companies. I'm not pointing anybody out. There's been quite a few over the last few years that you know, good teams have parted, and in the end, what I'm trying to say here is that has none of that shit has anything to do with any of us. You know what I mean? Them people have their own problems and they deal with each other, but we should still respect each other, respect all of them for what they've done in this community, the strains they brought forth, the things they're still trying to bring forth. I honestly don't give two shits on who gets along with who. Uh, I don't. I don't. And I hope to, like I said a few nights ago, I hope to be able to transcend through all that bullshit and be able to pull anybody in a ton of great names from anybody's camp in here without hopefully pulling some frowns on myself because I was able to score a great interview or whatever. And, like I said, none of that shit relates to us personally, so we shouldn't take it personally. Just move on. You know, admire their work and not the downsides. That's my advice on that shit. It's the way I love it. You got time for that shit. Some more good ass music, Mercules. I wish I could turn this shit up. I don't know why they just when I'm streaming on YouTube, they don't understand that I'm playing music off YouTube. They should be able to see that shit. Yeah, I'm watching a fucking stopped moment of fucking chat earlier because I have to, in order to keep things going, I have to pause on my YouTube window and just let chat roll. And I'm looking at it, and it looks like the fucking snapshot on the pause looks like I'm about ready to fucking rip a big old fart. Man, I think, and that's a funny thing right there too. I think YouTube's got a fucking funny sense of humor on the snapshots, so they choose to throw up on some of these videos of people. Dave was an alias. Dave was his work alias. Dave was the alias he used to check up on you. His real name was Monty, by the way. If you didn't know that, his real name, Subcool's real name was Monty Ball. It wasn't Dave. That was the name he went by when he'd send you an email for the newbies. He'd send you an email and fucking by that name to see if you were doing, if you'd answer the email and if you were on your game with the questions he was proposing with you. He had many aliases. He would fucking toy with you like that. I know when I started off with as a rep, he would do that. He would email me fucking, hey, where can I find your gear? And fucking, can you tell me about these strains? And then I would notice that in the email chain, where it went, that it always led back to him and just very few people. And I recognized all the names too. And, but I never let up. I let him play the game. I always smiled and returned the emails, lickety split, and with all the information that I could. Good night, Aldridge25. Thank you for tuning in. I don't blame you. Show's winding down, and I'm definitely just sitting here smoking some joints, talking some shit right now. I appreciate you tuning in, man. You made a fucking duration tonight. I think you took it in from beginning to end, which is at this point it's 2 hours and 39 minutes and 32 seconds. Most of you guys have been here. You awesome people have been here, and I appreciate that shit. This joint's about gone, and when it is, I believe I am too. Alex, hey, what's up from the Netherlands? I know you smoking on some good stuff over there. Thank you for popping in tonight. If you're just joining us, you should, after this gets done, go back and rewatch this because LostLeaf dropped some fucking amazing news, amazing knowledge on us all. So check that shit out for sure, please. As well as that great interview last night with Med Grower. Can't forget that. And the grower, female Russian grower tomorrow, Sonia, say, what? We'll be here tomorrow. I think that name's fucking pretty cool. I actually like the name. It's fun to say. Never met her. And that was a guest at Red Center Farms. Asked me if I would get her on, and it was a no-brainer, really. I was like, fuck yeah. Let's do this. So that's going to be super cool for tomorrow night. Listen to a little Machine Gun Kelly here. Again, I just killed it. Here it is. Wasn't really a big fan of his until I had heard this tune. It's a pretty good tune. My shit. Pretty good tune. He's got another one from this set was pretty good. Oh, boom. Thank you for hitting that thumbs up button. I appreciate that shit. I said that shit for the first time in my life the other day, and I didn't think I'd ever say that shit. Find myself. I've watched YouTubers say it a million times. please hit that subscribe button, the thumbs up, and please comment. I never thought I'd say that shit, but I said it the other night. It felt so foreign and wrong. But I would appreciate that thumbs up. Thank you, bro. It's fucking funny. Some kid in the crowd says that while he raps. Or when that pause comes up, he yells out, bitch. Fucking, so he calls him out right, rapping that. Pretty fucking good tune. Good live tune. Not too many fucking people can put out a good live tune. I was ass got this fucking joint just burning off slow. So resined up at this point, I don't even want to fucking smoke because it was fucking a 6-inch joint. What is Jimmy Crack Seed saying? Man, I appreciate you, brother. You've been fucking watching a lot of episodes. Eagle, you were saying Clutch fan. I'm a huge Clutch fan. I seen him back in '97 with Pantera. That would have been a fucking amazing show. That's one of the few great artists I have yet to see, and I believe they were going to come to Michigan. This would make throw a wrench in there. That'd be a fucking amazing concert. I love. Did you hear the story when I was talking about Clutch when about the Willie Nelson song when I was working around the garden and heard it the first few initial times, I thought they said fucking Willie Nelson was smoking ketamine. I'm like, man, hey, that shit ain't right, man. Willie's gonna be getting pissed. What? And then I listened to it. I listened to it with my fucking headphones in, and it says Willie Nelson only smokes killer weed. And I'm like, oh, yeah, no wonder Willie's not mad. That makes perfect sense. Fucking idiot. Fucking idiot. I mean, we're all guilty of that fucking screaming at. Singing some song lyrics that are nowhere near on base there. And I got this end all pinched off on this fatty, and it's all creased up. Don't want to burn. I'm gonna finish it off because we still got 32 cool people watching. As soon as it's gone, I'm gone. Seen Pantera like 12 times. Oh man, I've seen Pantera some good times. Fucking great times, man. One time I couldn't even walk for 3 days after that shit, after spending the whole show, which was Pantera, Megadeth, and White Zombie in the fucking mosh pit. Spent 3 days on the couch after that shit. Fucking Motorhead, I never fucking got to see them, but I fucking sure do love it. Ace of Spades! Smoke and grow, you here in Michigan? North, south, central? Where you at? You gotta divulge the city, maybe just county. That's all. Excuse me. Ain't no fucking, that's weed cough. Dang over. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna fucking hit this. Thank you all. Nice. Fucking, oh, he was at that show. That was a fucking great show. They ripped up the lawn and threw it right in the fucking pavilion. Thank you all for fucking tuning in, especially for listening to me jabber after the fucking the great show with Lost. Tomorrow will be a good show. I'd like to thank, of course, my sponsors, Active Grow LED, for that Low Pro Mag 660 that I'm running and killing it with at the moment. That run was also fed with Blue Planet Nutrients. Go check them out. I don't have no code or nothing for them. The great people at Generic Fertilizer Company. You can find them on Instagram. They can hook you up on some deals or match the current liquid fertilizer program you are running. Give it to you in a dry form, save you some money, save you at least 30%, and that will take you a shitload further. Make sure and check them out, or as well as their custom blend. Great guy over there. Make sure and check him out. And of course, uh, great people at my herbs now. Much love for them people. I do use that thing. That's no bullshit. I wouldn't tell you guys to use something or try something and don't. I'm not even trying to sell you anything here. These are just people that are super cool with me and help me do what I do and are nice enough to shoot me some products, test out, and run. But I've been running my herbs now for better than a year, and I'm still running it. I dig it, and if you are happen to be interested in that product, you could do me a favor and go to myherbsnow.com/promo Eagle Gardens 1, and that'll get you free shipping and a Grow Boss book. So again, I'm not asking you. It's not a plea to buy anything, but if you're interested, there you go. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate everybody. Again, this time tomorrow night, 11:30, we'll be back with another amazing grower. Some more good ass tips for you, and some more talking shit. So you guys know the deal. Do something nice for somebody. Random acts of kindness do change lives. It will not only change their life, but ultimately it will change yours as well. So don't be afraid to take that chance to make somebody's life a little bit easier. Uh, we all need it at some point. Thank you, and please tune in tomorrow. Appreciate you all.